It's at 40.5, that's fine. Just line this all back up. And I do all that. So you're going to keep your back against the board because it's AP. This time we're going to go 2 inches below that coracoid. But if you look in the notes, she gives us a reference point that it's armpit level. So relax your arm down. And right where that armpit is, that's where we're going to put that horizontal line. So right there, and if you find that point, it's about 2 inches below the coracoid. Then the other point is 2 inches lateral, medial to the lateral border of the ribs. So if you find the lateral border of the ribs, you put your hand like that, go 2 inches, and then we're gonna bring it over like that. So now that vertical line is 2 inches. It ends up almost about nipple line. Okay. Then we have to bring that arm up like this to draw the scapula from behind. So we're going to bring it up like that. And now this time we're going to collimate 10 by 12 lengthwise. So this one, up and down, we want it at a 12. Side to side, we want it at a 10. If you look, there's room right here for the marker, so you can put your right marker right there. Should be shielded. For this one, we're just going to use a technique in here, because what we're going to do, and I'll show you all how to set this after we position everything, we're going to use a breathing technique. So, scapula is right here, and it tells you AP breathing. You can relax your arm down because it will get tired. So we try and draw that scapula out, but we can't get the whole scapula out from behind the ribs. So what we're going to do is usually our technique is set to the lowest exposure time possible. This time we're going to set a long exposure time, and it's going to give time for them to keep breathing, and as you breathe, those ribs move, right? So we're going to let those ribs move and blur out a little bit, and it lets you see that scapula better. So this is one of the times that you're going to set your KVP and your MA and time separately. So don't set your mass, you're going to set your MA and your time separately. And we'll go over that. And since we don't have to measure, we're just going to make it simple and use the medium on everybody. Okay? So we want them to keep breathing, and I'll show you how to set the technique. We'll put that arm back up, we went back there, set technique. The right marker right in there. She's shielded, so then you just tell them don't move and click. And that's the AP. Any questions? Okay, so for the lateral, this is the one everybody hates. I even hate doing it in clinic. So what you're going to do is you're going to have them bring the affected side's arm to the opposite shoulder. So we're doing the right. But for videoing, I'm going to flip it. So we're going to go to the left this time. So now you're going to turn and face the board. And what we're trying to do is there's this medial border here and this lateral border here. We're trying to get those 2 points on top of each other. So I put a finger here and a finger here, and I think she ended up right where I needed her almost. Like that. So do you see how my fingers, if I would imagine this CR coming through, it would cross through both my fingers? 45 degrees is a good reference point to start. Then for centering, just because we turned her around, that height of the scapula doesn't change, right? So we don't have to worry about our height. All we're going to do is find this lateral border and step forward for me. Keep going. Keep going. And we're going to put this vertical line right on that lateral, on that medial border. Okay, so once you get those 2 points on top of each other, then this vertical line is right on that medial border. You can collimate in more side to side. This time it would be my left marker. I'll find a technique in next on us now. Technique. So, So we're just looking at the scapula. This time our ribs are not in the way, right? Because we've turned the body and now we don't have ribs blocking it. So this one you set KVP and mass, and then you just tell them don't move, don't breathe, and click. So it's tricky too on the technique because the AP has the breathing, the lateral doesn't. But if you think of why we do the lateral to blur the ribs, or why we do the breathing to blur the ribs, on the lateral the ribs are out of the way, right? So it should tell you you don't need it there. You can relax. Any questions on positioning? A little bit more to it, right? So let's go back here. And for our lateral scapula, see it says clavicle and then lateral scapula. Just set the medium one, the 70 at 12.5. So let's look at this. So for our AP, I said just to use medium on everybody. So you're going to do KVP at 70. You're going to look at MA, and we want it at 100. So right now it's on mass, so we got to switch it to MA, and we're going to drop it to 100. See how it won't drop anymore? It's because we need this slid up. So once you hit that, it will now let you drop to 100. The time is at 110 milliseconds. This is a second, so you got to put it at 0.110. And this technique, I don't agree with it because we use like 3 seconds in clinic. So if you, like, this isn't really going to give you a chance to blur the ribs, but if you think about like 0.012 of a second versus 3 seconds, it's quite a bit of difference where it gives time for those ribs to blur. But that's what we have, so that's what we're going to set here. And then you would just go out there, tell them don't move, and then click. Then for the lateral, we're just going to use our 70 at 12.5, so I don't have to change our KV. We're just going to do that, and then we're going to bump it up there. Okay? Any questions on setting technique? And a lot of people in clinic do not use the breathing technique. And after I started lab, I started testing it both ways. And the breathing technique makes a world of difference on that AP. So if you can use it, but use 3 seconds. Okay, any questions on any of them? And we'll see the breathing technique again on when we go to T-spine. Let me do that again. T-spine and sternum. Any questions on any of it? So it's your lab.